Good evening. Are you happy in your work? Good. Are we happy in our work? Well, sort of. At lunchtime today, this man seemed happy in his work. Bobby Gould, manager of Coventry City, was having fun on Football Focus with our man, Bob Wilson.
The only reason I've come on, Willow, is because I noticed a grey-haired gentleman a few weeks ago. He came on and his team went to QPR, played very, very well and got a result, and that was White Walker. So I hope I'm following in his footsteps.
That's the reason you've come in?
Not to see you, Willow, although you are a great mate.
By 5 o'clock this evening, he was desperately unhappy, that's Gould, not Wilson, and left Queen's Park Rangers having resigned as manager of Coventry City. Before we hear more, this is what happened to his team at Loftus Road. Gary Richardson reports.
Perhaps by half-time, Bobby Gould had decided enough was enough. By then, Coventry were 3 down. On 15 minutes, Alan MacDonald created the opening for Les Ferdinand, and Rangers were 1 up. With half an hour gone, Rangers 2 up. Simon Barker flicking on a Wilkins lob, and Bradley Allen provided the finish. If thoughts of resignation were beginning to form, this moment can't have helped. Ironically, Jonathan Gould, the manager's son, collided with Phil Babb, and Bradley Allen once again had the simplest of jobs. "15 minutes into the second half, Andrew Impey made it 4-0 with a snapshot after being nicely set up by Les Ferdinand. But almost immediately, a consolation goal for Coventry. Jan Stejskal miskicked under pressure, and Peter Unlove nipped in as defenders scrambled to clear. But Rangers had the last word. Once again, Ray Wilkins was involved. His free kick was headed against the bar by Ferdinand, and Simon Barker couldn't fail to score. Queen's Park Rangers 5, Coventry City 1, a miserable day for Bobby Gould, who could hardly bear to watch his last game in charge of Coventry.
He resigned straight after. He did get on the team bus, though, and ironically was consoled there by former boss Sami Hammam of Wimbledon. But what about his most recent boss, the chairman of Coventry, Brian Richardson? This is what he said to Trevor Brooking.
When did you first hear today's news?
I would think at about 10 minutes after the end of the game. Bob came into the boardroom and said, could he see me for a few minutes? Of course. And we went into the men's room, which is the only quiet little corner there was in the house. And very regrettably, Bob said that he wanted to resign. He'd made his mind up that he didn't feel that it was right and appropriate that he should carry on as manager of Coventry City. And that was it. I asked him to... Yeah. No, I mean, I think he just said that I've been a manager on and off in various clubs for 12 years, and that he thought that this time that was he needed a break.
But he's a very emotive person, isn't he, Bobby? And you know,
very emotive. He's emotional. He's emotive, but he always has been. He's a lovely, lovely guy. I mean, we're the very good friends, best of friends, and nobody's sorrier than I am that he's made this decision.
But do you think it's just on the one result, like today, a 5-1 defeat, or has it been building up?
Well, I mean, if it's been building up, I haven't seen it. I mean, I spent Wednesday and Thursday of this last week with Bob, planning exactly. We knew certain things had to be done, and we spent 2 days on Wednesday and Thursday planning exactly how and what we were going to do. And the last thing in the world I expected was what happened at 5 o'clock today.
Well, you can't see any reversal of Bobby's decision today?
I can't as of now. I mean, I did say to Bob, please, please, you know, let's meet again on Monday morning, and he said, no, no, no. You know, he's made his mind up, and I respect him for that.
He was happy as a sandboy at lunchtime. Do you think it was just that one result? Because they didn't play too well, to say the least.
No, I mean, he partially contributed, but I think, you know, he struggled to have cash to strengthen the squad and the side, and a certain frustration, I'm sure. And then sitting there this afternoon, seeing his side crumble as they did to such a bad defeat, he probably thought, well, I can't see this getting better, and perhaps before it gets that much worse, I'll walk away from it.
But there are tougher clubs to manage than Coventry City. They've had their best start for 50 years or something. I mean, it does seem bizarre.
They've only, I mean, lost 3 out of 12. That's not a bad record, right? 6 have been drawn, but it's not disastrous. What, they're 13th in the table. So, you know, it's very early in the season to suddenly feel I've got to go away from it. You know, I can't carry on.
What thoughts on it, Alan? It's difficult for his son for a start, who's still going to
Yeah, I don't think that's an ideal relationship, you know, father, manager, son and goal. But you would have thought all the problems would have been on the son's side with the teammates in the dressing room, whatever. No, they've had a bad run of results. It was a crushing defeat today, but I don't think you walk out because of that. You know, he tried to buy somebody in midweek, Burley of Chelsea. Whether the chairman's blocked that move, I don't know, but that might have led him to walk out.
Looks like Phil Neal will take over, Trev.
Yeah, so be the obvious caretaker manager, and I think you know, he's had experience as manager at Bolton. Because he's the England coach as well, that could be a problem in 3.5 weeks' time if he takes over, because he's due to go to San Marino. But I think he'd also want clarification, A, why Bobby left, you know, because it's always difficult for an assistant then to step into sort of somebody's shoes like that. And also, perhaps, is there are going to be some cash to strengthen the squad.
Yeah. Well, Bob Wilson as shocked as anybody about it, because he said we had a bite of lunch together after today's football focus, and there was no indication that he was thinking of giving up the job. Mind you, I've been to lunch with Bob Wilson. It's those sandwiches, I think. There we are. As usual tonight, we have all the day's top league girls for you, but let's now concentrate on our feature match at Bramall Lane, the Sheffield derby, United against Wednesday, both clubs in the bottom six, but as you can imagine, a tremendous atmosphere for the game. The commentator is John Motson.
A huge roar goes up as the teams come out at Bramall Lane, because in the city of Sheffield, you're either a Unitedite or a Wednesdayite. There are no neutrals in the all-ticket crowd of 30,000 who are here today to celebrate 100 years of league derbies in the Steel City. United have the better record over the whole series, but it still rankles that Wednesday beat them in the most glamorous meeting of all, the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley last season. Yet incredibly, just 6 months later, only 7 of the 22 players who started that semi-final are on the field at kick-off today. 3 survivors in the Sheffield United side include the recalled striker Alan Cork, who scored United's goal at Wembley. The turnover is not surprising because Dave Bassett has used 23 players in the Premiership this season, and it could soon be 24 because the Norwegian World Cup defender Roger Nielsen is here on trial. His compatriot, number 12, Jostein Flo, is United's top scorer. Wednesday themselves have used 21 players, and they've just 4 survivors from Wembley. Among those who've come in since, goalkeeper Kevin Pressman, Chris Woods is on the bench with a groin strain, and 2 20-year-olds in the wide midfield positions. The Australian Adam Porrick makes his full debut on the right, and Sheffield-born Ryan Jones, who scored against Wimbledon last week, is on the left. Referee is Keith Cooper from Glamorgan, and there's a real South Yorkshire flavour to this occasion, and fittingly the teams playing in traditional colours. Sheffield Wednesday blue and white stripes, Sheffield United red and white stripes. That's how it's been down the years. What an occasion for young players to experience this atmosphere. Andy Sinton, who's also feeling it for the first time, takes the free kick for Wednesday. He's the emergency left back at the moment. Header by Andy Pearce, and it's a foul on Jostein Flo. It's a free kick, and there's a bit of a scramble over the ball already, players jostling each other. There's Cork, oh, brave header, Des Walker, and now Waddle, who's playing up front today with Bright. Good challenge by Mitch Ward, and they're flying into the tackles in his opening 2 minutes. Just, oh, little bit of a scuffle as well, Hoyland and Bright already. The stage is set here for quite a scrap, I can tell you. It's Porrick now, and that's a foul from behind by Falconer. Referee argues with Rogers, or vice versa. And Adam Porrick, who was in Australia till he was signed last month, must be wondering quite what he's let himself in for here. This is Hyde for Wednesday. Sinton. In it goes towards Waddle. This is Carlton Palmer, number 4. Oh, there's a break on if he finds his man here, Waddle. It's Porrick who was free. Here's Nielsen, flags up. Offside. Well played by Tuttle, not a bad ball either. Des Walker headed it on to Pearce. Rogers, Sinton. Jones. He found Waddle, who didn't. Mitch Ward. Free kick, foul by Jones. Well, Flo and Cork obvious targets here. Oh, the goalie, Hodges! Yes! Well, the left foot of Glyn Hodges, so accurate. And how beautifully he took it. The goalkeeper was stranded, never got near it, because he was out looking to clear. And Hodges put Sheffield United in front after 7 minutes of the Steel City derby. Oh, I say, a cross from the right, which really Pressman came for, and his own defender, Pearce, took it away from him. Hodges saw the open goal and accepted it. Well, the Sheffield United captain gives his side the lead with the first opening of the afternoon. Palmer, and then Walker coming across to take Cork. This is Ward, his cross again, and here's Cork, and Flo, and Bradshaw, and Sheffield Wednesday's defence still rocking and reeling from that opening goal. They only just got to Cork there, now there's an offside. The three members of the back four who Wednesday signed this season, Des Walker, Andy Pearce and Andy Sinton, are experienced players, definitely, but haven't experienced this particular atmosphere before. And let me tell you, it is deafening here. So maybe somebody shouted back there and he wasn't heard on the goal. Here's Sinton. That's Mark Bright. Jones is in there. Oh, and Palmer came in! And Sheffield Wednesday have equalised through Carlton Palmer. What a start to the derby. 12 minutes gone, and it's 1-1, and Palmer makes the kind of run that perhaps Graham Taylor would be pleased to see. He gets right in there where it matters and converts the cross from Mark Bright. Well, Palmer, who's sending off at Liverpool on the opening day, really was a blow from which Wednesday have never quite recovered this season. Does something there to redress the balance. Well, Simon Tracy was watching Mark Bright, who got the cross here, but look where Palmer comes from. He wasn't picked up really, was he? Good goal. What a start in the first quarter of an hour. A goal apiece, and here's Hyde. This is Nielsen. Bright comes off his marker. Nielsen again. Palmer well forward once more. Jones in the middle this time. There's Jones, and it was taken from him by Tuttle for a corner. Close thing again. And Wednesday are finding a way of getting behind the defence and getting dangerous crosses in. And it's too long for Pearce. And I think he was holding down the defender anyway. Palmer's cross this time. Good defending by David Tuttle. Here comes Cork. It's loose again in there. Pearce with the clearance. This is Ward. Bradshaw. Des Walker took that one out. Then Ryan Jones. Now Ward. Ward again. Oh, Cork foiled by Walker. It's a good sustained spell this by Sheffield United. Up on the near post, Tuttle. Up on the far, Jamie Hoyland. Rodgers. Charlie Hartfield back to Ward. And Porrick doesn't really want to give away a free kick there. He's going to be booked, the Australian. Free kick. Hodges. Oh, yes, just taken by Pressman well. He's so accurate with those, Glyn Hodges. Roland Nielsen, right. Waddle's in the centre, Nielsen down the right. Waddle now. What a lovely ball with the outside of the left foot from Chris Waddle. That was exquisite. And it was only, what, a foot in front of Mark Bright, but the goalkeeper saw what Waddle was going to do and was alert. Hyde finds Waddle. Bright in the middle. Porrick on the far side. Palmer surges up yet again. And it's a corner. Tuttle doing the covering. Wednesday doing the pressing. Ryan Jones is in the 6-yard box. Andy Pearce coming from deeper. And it's taken from Pearce by Tracy. So the referee will add on a little time for stoppages. Certainly time enough for this free kick to be taken, and Wednesday push up field. Crossover between Waddle and Bright. Hartfield stretching, that's a corner to Wednesday. Their fans behind that goal anticipate this could be the last chance of the half. So Pearce comes trotting forward. Jones facing the kicker in the 6-yard box. Waddle, and away by Bradshaw. To Sinton. Walker, and the whistle goes. And I think they'll be glad of a rest, the pace at which that was played. Got off to a blistering start, the derby match. Sheffield United in front after 7 minutes. Glyn Hodges the scorer, the captain. Sheffield Wednesday level 5 minutes later. A goal by England's Carlton Palmer. Well, that eminent Sheffield sports writer Keith Farnsworth has furnished me with some very good facts about derbies down the years, and one of them is that Wednesday haven't won here at Bramall Lane in a derby since 1967, 26 years ago, and they've only won here 4 times since the war, and 2 of those occasions were in the FA Cup. Can they put that right, I wonder? Waddle and company in the second half. Well, Richie Barker, the Sheffield Wednesday coach, clearly feels some advice is required. That's Bright, but it was Hoyland who got there. Palmer. Waddle to Hyde. Porrick, Waddle. It might open up here for Chris Waddle. Oh, good save by Tracy. Waddle cursing himself a little bit, I think, for showing a bit too much of it at the last. But the keeper did well. Sort of very exciting when a player like Waddle can actually take on opponents inside the area, but he'll be cross with himself as he shakes his head there. Well, the ground held its breath a little here as Waddle took on Jamie Hoyland. He found way round there as Bright got out of his way. The goalkeeper just, well, actually credit to Tracy, wasn't it? And now it's Porrick up against Hartfield. Nielsen. Hodges. Fleur wanted it in quickly. This is Mitch Ward. Rodgers. Bradshaw. Ward again. Rodgers, nice turn. That's a good effort by Paul Rodgers. Played in that never-to-be-forgotten cup tie for Sutton against Coventry, and then came straight from non-league into the big league. And he's acquitted himself very, very well in midfield. Pearce. And now Faulkner, and he's got Mitch Ward to his right, Justine Flo and Alan Cork in the middle. This is Ward. Flo! Oh, good save, Pressman. Flo knows he should have scored. It was a brilliant cross by Ward. Some ropey defending to allow Flo that much room, but he looks in anguish at the chance that goes away. David Tuttle, the nearest man on the 6-yard line. And Willie Faulkner gets up this time, but Sheffield United know that that was a great opportunity. And what a good move it was. You had the feeling when it built up that something was going to come on the end of it. Mitch Ward's crossing has been excellent today. Deep, away from the defender, and Kevin Pressman did ever so well, atoning perhaps for what happened early in the game. It's a very, very good save this by Chris Wood's deputy. Brilliant. Jones, Waddle, it might go for Porridge. No, Hartfield was there. Offside, play on advantage. Tuttle. Not offside, Cork. Rodgers. Hodges. Cork. Faulkner's here, Nielsen's there too. Jones to Palmer. The two strikers spread wide, right and left. Now Bright starts to move inside. Palmer, a good run, good challenge, but in fact it was Rodgers back there in defence. I think it's Tuttle who needs attention. Carlton Palmer's made a lot of these runs today. He gets past Hoyland, and then I think what happens here is that Tuttle makes a very good challenge but hurts his arm or maybe his hand in the process. Yes, it was. Derek French down there doing a very steady job with the bandage. Doesn't look the happiest manager in the world, does he, Trevor, today? Still a player, of course. He might have had to press himself into service as sub in his 40th year. Sinton. So we go into the 90th minute. Jones. Oh, goodness, they've let Jensen go. Waddle in support and Porrick. This is Waddle. Porrick to his right. And, oh, Waddle gave it to Bradshaw. Hyde. Well, Jensen got away then. He's on the left again now. And this time he finds Jones. That's a good effort by Jones. Oh, well held. If that had come back off Simon Tracy from Ryan Jones, Adam Porrick could have put the seal on his first major match. It was a good piece of keeping. Now is the time for one last bid by Sheffield United. Flo is up there, so is Hodges, so is Davison. That's Flo. Oof. Well, it might have gone anywhere, but as the referee brings the game to a close, the Sheffield derby ends in a 1-1 draw, just as it did the first time the teams met in the league here at Bramall Lane 100 years ago this month. Glyn Hodges, an early scorer for United. Carlton Palmer, the equaliser for Wednesday. They still haven't won here for 26 years, and United still haven't really got revenge for the Cup semi-final, but The whole of Sheffield can go home happy because pride has been preserved, the points have been shared.
Yeah, we started brightly and we got the goal, and Wednesday got their goal, and to be fair, I think it then sort of ended up, and there was a few other incidents in the first half. It was one of those non-events the second half. You know, I can't think anything other than to say on that respect.
How would you assess your own team's performance overall?
Below par. I wasn't entirely happy. We got some good positions wide. Our crossing was bad today, our corners were bad. Other than that, we did quite well.
And I suppose a few viewers looking at the team sheet will wonder why Chris Woods was the substitute goalkeeper.
Yeah, when I was over in Rotterdam, you know, with Chris, he got an injury over there, damaged his groin, and last Saturday he was unable to play against Wimbledon. He can handle the ball well, but you know, I think that this season kicking has become so important, and he struggles with his kicking. So despite the fact that he's had treatment all week, he was once again ruled out today, but he's okay to go on the bench.
Who's got the better hopes of a good season between those two teams, do you think, Alan?
I think Sheffield Wednesday. You know, Sheffield United always struggle, and I can't see this season being any different. I don't think they'll go down, but I think they'll struggle. Sheffield Wednesday have got some great players, great to watch, but they just continually give away bad goals. When you go on the pitch, what you're looking for is, if you're going to lose goals, you can never accept that, but you're always looking for the opposition to do some special to score, right? What Sheffield Wednesday are doing is they're just continually giving away bad goals. The opposition are doing nothing. They're contributing to their own downfall, and if they're going to be successful, then they've got to tighten up.
Get that bit right. Well, now 4 goals from 2 more big games in the north. First, it's the clubs lying 4th and 5th, Leeds United against Blackburn Rovers.
Make a note to visit Ellen Road when these two next meet. Last season there were 7 goals, today there were 6. Alan Shearer got his first of the afternoon from Ripley's teasing run and cross, and when Beanie parried Newell's header, Shearer was on hand to force the ball home. Stuart Ripley was also involved in Alan Shearer's second goal, which came a minute into the second half. Gary McAllister launched the Leeds United fight back from the penalty spot after David May had fouled Brian Dean. Bobby Mims guessed right, but he wasn't quite quick enough. Blackburn again opened a 2-goal advantage. Mike Newell took a kick. Leeds might have complained it wasn't from the right place. Shearer completed his hat-trick style. 8 minutes remaining, the Leeds Late Show moved into top gear. John Newsom's volley made it 3-2. And then McAllister, who Leeds boss Howard Wilkinson described as their best player today, shot from a tight angle, and a deflection off Sherwood took the ball past Mims. Alan Shearer's hat-trick not quite good enough for victory.
I've had a few doubles, a few singles, but it doesn't really bother me whether I score hat-tricks or not, as long as I score goals.
Manchester City's David White showed some of his old zest for goal on his return from injury against Liverpool. Taking a perfectly timed through ball from Gary Flitcroft, White produced the kind of finish which made him worthy of an England place a little over a year ago, and which City have missed recently. That's only their 3rd league goal in 5 games. It should have been 2-0 4 minutes later. White, this time the provider, with Niall Quinn failing to follow his colleague's lead in front of goal. Liverpool are hardly conjuring up images of their great championship sides, but that old fighting spirit has not deserted them. 2 goals in the last 3 minutes to beat Oldham last week. Rob Jones sending up Ian Rush for an 88th minute equaliser this week.
Leeds Blackburn would have been one to enjoy this afternoon if you were there.
I don't think for either manager. I think Leeds will be unhappy losing 3 goals at home, and as for Kenny Dalglish, I'm sure 3-1 up with 10 minutes to go, you've got to win the game.
Shearer's back though, isn't he?
Yeah, great to see him back scoring goals, a great hat-trick, but a little bit of dispute about his 3rd goal. Not from the hit, but it's a free kick here, speeding Sherwood. Now watch where the incident occurs. The ball rolls sort of 10-12 yards. Mike Newell gets it. Referee gives a free kick. Oh wait, I'll pick it up here. Flick it through. I mean, great vision. Shearer's onto it quick. Leeds defenders are sleeping, and he finds the back of the net. But I'm sure the referee's only 5 yards away. You know, he's got to bring them back. I think Leeds would be unhappy with that decision.
Well, now it's Oldham Athletic against Arsenal. 17 places between them in the table, but the same problem. Shortage of goals. Only 20 between the two sides in the league before today. We were hoping the trend might change, especially after Arsenal's splendid performance in Europe. Clive Tilsley was at Boundary Park.
Oldham Athletic 3rd from the bottom against Arsenal 3rd from the top.
Two very different clubs already pursuing very different goals even at this early stage of the season. Arsenal, fresh from their best performance of the season against Standard Liège, can again afford to leave Kevin Campbell on the bench. Alan Smith partners in right. Andy Linnigan, a former Oldham player, and David Hillier come in to replace the injured Martin Keown and John Jensen. Joe Royle has half a team injured. Key men too, like Richard Jobson, Nick Henry and Ian Olney, all absent today. There's an Oldham debut at left back for Chris, a recall in midfield for Mark Brennan, and maybe a chance late in the game for pacey substitute David Beresford, who's just 16 years of age. Mike Reed's the man in charge, and I know it's tempting fate, but there hasn't been a goalless league match at Boundary Park for more than 6 years. It says a lot about Oldham's approach. Now, maybe those of you unkind enough to suggest that Arsenal will soon see to that record, but they really do need to win today. The gap at the top, already 7 points. Oldham pushing up and catching Ian Wright offside. It's a fine, fresh Lancashire afternoon, and a fresh pitch here at Oldham in much better condition than last season when it was a bit bare and hard. Haller. Dixon, not the best of headers, sharp for Holden. Makin. Into Bernard. A little bit too much on the header, really. Linnigan blocked by Holden. Here's Sharp, here's Beckford, good clearance, Tony Adams. Mike Milligan, Linnigan's there. Cleared by Dixon. Very little time to breathe inside that Arsenal penalty area at the moment. Tony Adams standing firm. Darren Beckford had the chance. Graham Sharp hanging at the far post as well as anybody in the game. It's a classic position for him to set the chance, but Adams did well. Here's Sharp. Bernard to his left, Beckford to his right. This is now Rick Holden. Sharp. Milligan's made a run into the box. Just couldn't quite dig it out from underneath him, the Oldham skipper. But Rick Holden, re-signed a couple of weeks ago from Manchester City, setting up that familiar supply line for the left-hand side. Challenge from behind was by Fleming on Smith. Paul Merson is the man standing over the ball. Adams and Linnigan are forward. In towards Smith, good save by Gerrard. And cleared well by Beckford deep in defence. Gunnar Haller. Mark Brennan. Paul Bernard. Haller again. Ran away from him to Winterburn. They arrived like the red arrows at the far post, almost in formation there, Arsenal. Merson delivered. And Smith almost did. Winterburn. Right. Almost turned Fleming there. Disappointed not to get a free kick, the England man. Haller's long run forcing the throw. Beckford. Nice slip, Linnigan. Here's Bernard. Came off Adams, Beckford! Haller's got it back for Oldham. Mark Brennan this time. Well, it came off Redmond and fell free and right. He certainly won't outpace Craig Fleming though. Oldham number 2 is very swift, and so's his pass for Holden. Now, corner kick. Holden just managed to knock it against the shins of Dixon, who's down in some pain in that corner. Rick Holden walks him off his feet and on with the game. But with Dixon off the field, I think the referee's quite happy for play to continue as Gary Lewis treats it. Corner can be taken. Again, good save. Can't have seen very much of that, David Seaman. Shot by Milligan, surprise element, and look at all the bodies between Milligan and Seaman. It's Rick Holden. Owen Beckford this time with a crashing header. George Graham fairly passive looking on. John Jensen next to him is out of the team today because of an ankle injury. Sharp. Holden. Mackin got there. Picked away unnecessarily by Holden, and certainly his reaction was very unnecessary. And Lee Dixon as puzzled as I am. He's off. Rick Holden, on his return to boundary bar, has lasted less than 37 minutes. He certainly thrust both arms into Dixon's chest and pushed him to the ground, and Rick Holden has been sent off by Mike Reid. A yellow card for Dixon. Ball was out of play. Dixon and Holden went for it. I suppose you could argue that Dixon kicked it away. Holden was trying to get on with it, but response. And look where the referee is. He had a great view of it. And that response has earned Rick Holden an early dismissal. Sharp to Haller. Winterburn couldn't hold him. Haller's got Bernard and Beckford in support. And here's Paul Bernard with a real chance. Still a chance. Away by Winterburn. I'm not sure it was going in. But Bernard's best opportunity passed him by when he failed to control the ball initially. Here's McGoldrick. Much too close to the goalkeeper. But much too close for comfort at the other end for Arsenal. Gunnar Haller's willingness to run again, setting up the situation. And if he controlled it there, maybe. Well, there were a lot of men between him and the goal from that point onwards. Makin, now gone. Brennan. Merson. Here's right again, instant control. Awkward when he starts running at you, and he almost lifted that over Gerrard. Shoots a bit earlier than you expect him to. And his figures for Arsenal are absolutely extraordinary. All they come down to is that each time he plays, he has about a 70% chance of scoring a goal. Hasn't happened yet today. Here's Merson. Arsenal poured 4 forward in support of him. 5 now with Winterburn here. Headed by Redmond. Bernard. All that coming from Paul Gerrard's weak clearance. Linnigan. Smith. Dixon. That's football from Arsenal. Important header from Macon. Arsenal have a corner. Can and do pass the ball greatly at times, Arsenal. Set one of their familiar set pieces here. A little longer this time towards Linnigan. Clearance by Sharp. Right first to claim it. Hillier. Smith, great control. Played into the path of Tony Adams with a real chance. That was a good save by Gerrard, but with the greatest respect to Tony Adams, a different player, might have stretched him a little more. It was a really good opening, set up by Smith, and Adams in somewhat unaccustomed territory couldn't beat the England under-21 international goalkeeper. Merson. Here's Campbell, got a real chance. Had to hit the target. And if there's one remaining question mark over Kevin Campbell's undoubted ability, it's his ability to tuck that kind of chance away consistently. He's still only 23, of course. He looks well pleased, isn't he? Cleared by Fleming. Bernard. And he just leaned on Davis, and he's been penalised. Plays on a midfield player who can get into his opponent's box to score goals, and Paul Bernard is certainly that. Here's Alan Smith for Arsenal, looking for a goal which might settle it. And Gerrard and Fleming. Down to the wire, last 5 minutes. One would surely do it now. And Smith almost got it. Dixon. Linnigan came off sharp last. It'll be a runner. It's been a very brave, very proud performance by Oldham. But they're on the ropes a little bit at the moment. Towards Adams. Defended well by Sharp. Dixon, Milligan's the man down. Redland's got it clear and might read quite sensibly, stopping play immediately. It's Milligan's shoulder, thankfully, rather than his head. Although the distinction would probably be rather low for him at the moment. And Alan Smith almost stole all the points for Arsenal there. He caught hold of the volley pretty cleanly from Campbell's flick on. Not much time to set himself, but it was straight at Gerrard. And Arsenal have just been unable to solve their goal-scoring problem again this afternoon. Gerrard is partly responsible for that. But it's going to cost them dear if it continues for much longer. Well, I suppose I should have shot at the start of the game. The first goal of straw here in a league match since September 1987. Mike Reid, the referee, will be one of the central figures in the inquest for his dismissal of Rick Holden just before half-time. It's Arsenal's third consecutive goal of straw in the race for the Premiership title. Many more of them, and they'll be out of the race for the title. Oldham showed all the kind of guts and grit that we expect from them, but they weren't able to quite carry the loss of Holland for a victory. A rather unseemly ending to a fiery afternoon, but no goals to report.
Obviously the sending off had a bearing on all that followed. What was your view of it?
I think we're going to have to stop the players doing weights, because I never thought he was that strong. He obviously threw him 8 yards with just a push, so I mean, it's the kind of thing that happens. You see worse tackles than that happen. It's the referee's decision and he sent him off, but I thought it was very, very harsh.
The tackle, the ball went out of play, and I thought it was my throw. Just went for the ball, and Rick obviously thought it was his throw. It was a bit of a sort of tangle for the ball, really, and he fell over the back of my legs and went towards the sideboards. And he, you know, in the heat of the moment, he obviously was a bit upset by that, and he raised his hands a bit and pushed me over. And the referee's decision was to send him. So I got booked for kicking the ball away, which you know, I thought it was my ball, so that was why I got booked. I'm sure he's very disappointed, and we like to see players sent off. But the referee made the decision, and it set the scene for the day, really. And maybe, you know, it spoilt the game, but the ref's got to make a decision on the spot, and he thinks he made the right one.
It's all a bit of a nonsense, really, Trev.
Yeah, I think, you know, Mike Reid, the referee, probably felt at the time, as he saw it, it was the right decision. But I mean, they had a bit of a scuffle, hadn't they, in the corner before this, Lee Dixon and Rick Holden. But Chris Makin comes in, makes the tackle. At the time, I must say, I thought he got the foot to it, and that it was an Arsenal throw. you see they both think that it's their quick throw, and if anything, Lee Dixon shouldn't have nudged him into the building, because that's what makes Rick Holden and shove him. And there is the referee as such at that stage. You know, I personally think a bit of common sense at this stage, because in the sort of activity again, look, they're both going over trying to take a quick throw in. Now, I don't think that's deliberately kicking the ball away.
They're only going for a cheeseburger.
Yeah. He had plenty of time to get one afterwards, because of course what happens then after this push is that the referee, you know, is violent contact. For me, you know, I would say to Lee Dixon, you know, a little bit of a warning, not a yellow card. And for Rick Holden, you shouldn't react, and a yellow card for him. But as soon as you put your hands up, you do die to the fact that the referee might send you off. So they shouldn't have done that. But in the end, I think just one yellow card for Holden would have been sufficient.
Of course, feel out of a cheese sandwich. Now, what about, or a cheeseburger? Yeah. Now, Arsenal, they've got a goal-scoring problem. It's difficult to criticise Arsenal. They win things every year. But are they going to win the championship if they can't score more goals? In their championship years, they scored a lot more goals, didn't
they? Well, I think they're going to have to score. Defensively, they've let in 6 goals in 12 matches, which is fantastic. And three in the first, you know, games against Coventry. So that's fine. But after that, and right, they rely so much on them, whereas in their championship-winning seasons, Alan Smith got over 20 goals in both of those, and he's only just got back into the team. I think a few more crosses, Limpar and Marwood were the wide people then, and somebody like Michael Thomas, who used to make those forward runs, they've not no one going forward from midfield beyond the strikers.
Just with a couple of cups, I expect. Manchester United, of course, had that shock in the European Cup on Wednesday. Today they were away to Everton, and they left Ryan Giggs on the bench. Brian McClare was in the 11, and Lee Martin continued at full-back for the unwell Paul Parker. Everton had Stuart Barlow in attack for the injured Paul Wright. Sinstadt was at Goodison.
Cotty's header for Barlow. Ward. Get away from Keane. Watson. Manchester United chasing the ball at the moment, but Everton, in spite of a series of successful passes, not so far going anywhere. Oh, it's a mistake by Keane, and it's let in Barlow, and Schmeichel has saved, and Cotty has had the follow-up blocked. But a terrible mistake by Keane, let Barlow in, and Barlow still trying to make an impact in the first team. Hesitated over his shot, and Schmeichel smothered it. In the middle, aim for Ward, who was calling for it and has got it. Now Holmes scooping it back in. Cotty takes up position, but Schmeichel 6'4", and then the extension of the arms and the jump. Cotty no chance. Cantona. That's a beautiful ball. Martin, first time, good cross. Oh, on the volley by Lee Sharp, and a goal out of the blue. Perfectly executed volley, lean back just enough. 1-0, Manchester United, 8 minutes gone in the second half. Breaking, showing positive signs. Cotty, will he get there? Not quite. Brave and timely goalkeeping by Schmeichel. Had to anticipate a little chip through. Couldn't come too soon. Timed it very well. Thought had an arm across his man there. Balls with Everton, so no harm done. Schmeichel for the second time in the game, his body down fast and makes block at point-blank range. 2 excellent saves now by Schmeichel. Oh, Sharp is away again. Get his second here. Play on. Mr. Hackett took one look, waved them on. Quite happy. United have done it thanks to the 53rd minute goal from Lee Sharp, 1-0.
I think it's 9 points. We've gone clean out the top, and if we can keep going like this, you know, it should be easier for us.
And still with a big enough squad to leave someone like Ryan Giggs on the bench for a game.
That's right. I mean, the squad the manager's got now, the squad he's built up is huge, you know, and we've got another cup game midweek, and he can rest players when he wants to, really.
So you've got to keep scoring goals back to stay in the side.
Well, it looks like it, yeah.
Well, goals now from two of the remaining games played today. First, it's Aston Villa, home to Chelsea.
Daly and Atkinson vowed tonight to win over the fans he believes have made him a scapegoat for Aston Villa's title failure last season. His peace plan will be helped by him scoring the only goal against Chelsea. Italy-bound Tony Daly supplied the cross, and Atkinson the emphatic finish. That should go some way to winning over those terrorist critics. He might have silenced them altogether if this 15th-minute effort had not been splendidly saved by Dimitri Karin. But Atkinson clearly revelling in his new midfield role today.
Swindon's run of matches in the Premiership without a win seems to have been going on longer than the mousetrap. In a meeting of old friends, David Kerslake, once of Swindon, picked out Jason Dazelle, and he finished delightfully. Now, do you think this was a penalty? Paul Odin's corner. Gary Mabbott looked as though he might have handled. But a closer check reveals that Colin Calderwood bundled over his old teammate Sean Taylor. Penalty given. Bowden stepped up to earn Swindon a point, who are still looking for their first win in 12 league matches.
Arguably the best result in Europe in midweek was achieved by Norwich, winning away against the mighty Bayern Munich in the UEFA Cup. Today, they got a warm welcome home.
An early start was required for the staff of the Norwich City ticket office today. It was a steady sale for this afternoon's game, but what the Norwich punters really wanted was tickets for the second leg of the Bayern Munich tie. The last few were quickly bought up this morning. Norwich fans have yet to come down from Tuesday's win in Munich and are still reliving a memorable night in their history. Those two Norwich goals in Munich have fired up the entire city.
Well, the club is buzzing, the city's buzzing, and the county's buzzing. What we've got to remember, though, is half-time. We're halfway there. There's still a long way to go. We've done very well. It's always nice to come in at half-time 1-up, but the second half's going to be harder than the first half. I think we all appreciate that and know that, but we're quite confident.
It'll be a full house for the second leg against Bayern. Norwich's success so far this season has been based on their unbeaten away record and their sweeper system. But it soon became very obvious that playing the sweeper system at home wasn't going to work out.
The problem came at home and tried to play the same way. It didn't seem to have the same success. It's probably because teams don't come at you so much at home. So obviously we've had to modify that and play slightly different at home.
So do you think tactically differently for playing away than playing at home?
Yeah, we've had to. I mean, we've had to look at the situation, and you know, whilst we haven't scored a lot of goals at home, we've changed our style at home, and we've had results since. So it can't be any coincidence.
Taking all competitions into consideration, before today, Norwich's last 3 home games had been won. The problem, though, he managed to score 2 league goals at Carrow Road. Gary Mason nearly changed that with a header just before half-time. West Ham Ludo McGlasgow made a great save, and the Hammers would easily have been winning at half-time themselves. The Czech goalkeeper really had to be on his toes today, especially at the start of the second half. He was perfectly positioned to stop Mark Bowen after Ian Crook had played the ball through to him. And it was the same player, Bowen, who brought a great save from McGlasgow when he hammered in a shot from a Norwich free kick. 20,000 at Carrow Road today. That was virtually a full house. They saw both goalkeepers performing well. Brian Gunn had to save acrobatically with his legs when Matthew Holmes engineered his way into the penalty area. West Ham increasingly came into the match and they started to find spaces. Lee Chapman flicked on, Trevor Morley bore down on the Norwich goal. Rob Newman wanted to play piggyback. Referee Joe Worrell gave play on. Morley would go down and hit the post. Had he gone down, a professional foul and send off could easily have been the decision. Morley stayed on his feet to his credit, thinking he could score the vital goal for West Ham. West Ham nearly got that goal in the final minutes. Lee Chapman receiving the ball from Ian Bishop, turning in the box, but Gunn diving brilliantly to his right made a great save. The draw was a fair result. As for the major incidents of the game, Norwich goalkeeper Brian Gunn was full of praise for the match referee.
I think Joe Worrell used his experience there and kept the game going, and obviously, you know, it was good for us because it could have been a situation where he might have had to send Rob Newman off had there been, you know, a foul or if he'd gone down. But fair credit to Trevor Morley, he stayed on his feet as well and he got a shot and then he nearly scored. It hit the inside of the post and came out, so have a bit of luck there.
You go home satisfied though, Harry?
Yeah, obviously we're looking for more goals, Ray, but our general play and the spirit in the club and everything else, our football that we're playing, the crowd loved us. You know, our supporters enjoyed the stuff that we played. We're back to playing lots of good football that the West Ham fans like to see, and so we'll be okay. I see us doing quite well this year. I don't have any problems.
Of course we want the extra points, but to be fair, we've kept a clean sheet again, and that's vital. We keep, you know, that continuity going in the defence.
Is there a danger your players get something of a mental block about winning at home?
Very probably, yeah. I mean, you know, I'm going to make an application to the Premiership so we can play all the games away, I think.
Subs reporting, but the next home game for Norwich, Bayern Munich. It certainly will be live on Wednesday week here on BBC Television. 7 o'clock it will start for you. Now the tables and the top, Manchester United's 1-0 win at Everton today has seen them establish that 9-point lead. Norwich and Arsenal remain second and third respectively after both were held to those goalless draws, and QPR moved up to 5th place with that 5-1 victory over Coventry. At the foot, Swindon remain in last place despite the 1-1 draw at Tottenham. Oldham's point against Arsenal, not enough to lift them out of the bottom three, while Southampton play Newcastle tomorrow. Well, tonight there will appear to be a vacancy at Coventry, but unless you heard anything, we three will be back here next Saturday. Good night.